Answer this question. Why is The Wolf of Wall Street so damn good? Besides that, and that... I'll tell you. The Wolf of Wall Street makes use of just about every conceivable cinematic technique to tell its story. Like Martin Scorsese's similar films, we'll get to them when we get to them. It is led by the protagonist's first-person narration, which dumps exorbitant amounts of information on you to tell a complex story about a time, a place, and its people.
Now, a rat hole is a friend, like Brad here, who held stock in his name from me. The Quaalude, or lewd as it is commonly referred to, was first synthesized in 1951. An IPO is an initial public offering. It's the first time a stock is offered for sale to the general population.
And what's the only way to make you pay attention to so much content? Not only that, but through an audio-visual style that is as busy and informative as the story requires. The Wolf of Wall Street uses photos.
Eventually, Ben married her, which was pretty amazing considering she blew every single guy in the office.
Commercials.
For millionaires whose ships have come in, pricey pleasure boats offer the most fun afloat. It's no coincidence that its 150 feet of green hull is the color of cash.
Archive footage.
I own a mansion, private jet, 6 cars, 3 horses, 2 vacation homes, and a 170-foot yacht.
Video.
Remember what I told you. It involves your penis and her vagina. And you know what you could do.
TV shows. Cinematically, it has montages.
Thank you.
And here.
Welcome.
Tracking shots.
Your mama, she's calling you, man.
Slow motion.
Someone figured out that if you resisted the urge to sleep for just 15 minutes, you got a pretty kick-ass high from it.
Freeze frames.
My name is Jordan Belfort. Not him. Me.
Every imaginable musical choice.
Golden word, he'll pour.
And my favorite directing touch in the whole movie will always be how Marty shoots Jordan's conversation with his suave, as Jean Dujardin always is, Swiss banker Sorel. Jordan thinks a Swiss bank will save his life and, more importantly, if there's a difference, his money. So he believes the place is paradise. And that's how Marty frames him. But, and that's a big but, this decision will only lead to trouble later on. So this is how Marty frames the banker Sorel.
You are now in heaven.
This deal isn't the endless waters of the beautiful ocean, Jordan. It's an aquarium. You'll be forever trapped swimming in circles, bound in a nutshell and counting yourself a king of infinite space, as Hamlet would put it.
I could be bounded in a nutshell and count myself a king of infinite space.
In case you didn't notice the setup during the dialogue, here's Jordan framed inside the fish tank. A brilliant choice, as Mike Nichols showed us in The Graduate.
Hello, darkness.
Later, Jordan thinks he might lose $20 million he put in the bank, so he calls Sorel, who tells him how to retrieve the money. Through symmetrical camera movements, Scorsese frames Jordan once again in his imaginary paradise, and Sorel in front of the aquarium that will trap his client.
Fantastic. Well, that's good news. Well,
moving on, this entire cinematic abundance places The Wolf of Wall Street in the extremely exclusive genre that I call the encyclopedic film. And what constitutes an encyclopedic film? I borrow and adapt the term from literature professor Edward Mendelssohn's concept of the encyclopedic narrative. An encyclopedic film can be so through the writing and through the directing. So let's talk about encyclopedic scripts first, cause the second one, I'll get carried away on the second one. The encyclopedic screenplay was born with Martin Scorsese's Goodfellas.
As far back as I can remember, I always wanted to be a gangster.
Alongside its story, it is concerned with explaining to the audience about sciences, systems, patterns, customs, and cultures.
He had this wonderful system for doing the garlic. He used a razor, and he used to slice it so thin that it used to liquefy in the pan with just a little oil.
The pit bosses are watching the floormen
The shift bosses are watching the pit bosses. The casino manager is watching the shift bosses. I'm watching the casino manager.
Now, this is a classic error. In basketball, it's called the hot hand fallacy. A player makes a bunch of shots in a row. People are sure they're going to make the next one.
And once you conclude the magic bullet could not create all 7 of those wounds, you have to conclude that there was a 4th shot and a 2nd rifle.
The only hand left that can beat a queen full house is a king full house.
Within months after meeting Cockroach, Pablo was establishing the first dedicated narco routes from Colombia to America.
Grover Norquist ran the anti-tax group with huge funding from the Koch brothers network, Big Oil, and Big Tobacco.
There are 2 different types of dick pics: solicited and unsolicited.
Now let's talk about the encyclopedic style of directing. But to get there, we need to rewind all the way back to, not so much, to the dawn of cinema. Early silent films were shot like stage plays in unbroken wide shots. Close-ups and medium shots came along, but directors did not much vary types of angles within scenes. Then in 1915, D.W. Griffith made The Birth of a Nation, taking just about every technique early films had developed and using them all in a single 3-hour epic. Take a look at this moment of a man recognizing his friend on the opposite side of the Civil War. It cuts from a wide angle to a closer shot of him to his friend's reaction and back. Unimpressive, right? If it doesn't seem like much, it's because every movie made ever since has Griffith to thank for such conventional editing techniques. Look at this cut from a wide shot to a detail on John Wilkes Booth's gun. Such dramatic angles were not common within a scene, so Griffith used varied types of shots, camera movements, yeah, there's that, and editing techniques so innovative they soon became a pattern. And it is through Griffith's assembly of everything cinema up until then could do that makes me give him the title of the first encyclopedic director. His reign, though, was short-lived, because his innovative style was so impressive everyone started using it, and what was once encyclopedic soon became the norm. The 1920s was the most creative decade in movie history. There were landmarks in editing, special effects, production design. How could someone gather so much to become a new encyclopedic director? Enter Abel Gance. In 1927 he released Napoleon, which not only gathered everything silent cinema could do until then, but also invented new techniques. Gance never saw a movement he didn't want for his camera. I might be getting dizzy. He also used strong symbolism and shots inspired by paintings. But his greatest achievement of all was the invention of the widescreen, 26 years before it became common. For all this, Abel Gance takes the title of our second encyclopedic director. Then came sound film and a whole new world of possibilities arrived.
I read where you were shot 5 times in the tabloids.
It's not true. He didn't come anywhere near my tabloids.
And the first film to make use of all of them was, of course, the much talked about, the much beloved Citizen Kane by Orson Welles.
And there's the Kane from Citizen Kane. Wait a minute, there was no Kane in Citizen Kane.
What the f*** is that then, Lisa? What the f*** is that? Here is how Citizen Kane is set in motion.
News on the march!
Wells used the newsreel, a type of media common at the time.
100,000 trees, 20,000 tons of marble are the ingredients of Xanadu's mountain. Paintings, pictures, statues, the very stones of many another palace. The fowl of the air, the fish of the sea, the beast of the field and jungle. Kane built Chicago's Municipal Opera House. Cost $3 million.
It's the first step that would lead Scorsese and McKay to use pop media decades later. Like his encyclopedic predecessor, Citizen Kane is famous for its assembly of techniques that already existed but were never used all at once to tell a single story.
I just try everything I can think of.
Expressionistic sets and compositions.
I didn't know we were speaking.
Sure we're speaking, Jedediah. You're fired.
Montages.
Fraction trust, please, puppy white. Fraction trust, smash by inquirer.
Match cuts.
I looked at a picture of the world's greatest newspapermen. I felt like a kid in front of a candy store.
It uses every conceivable technique to skip in time, but what made the film truly unique was its boasting depth of field. The cinematic technique of keeping all elements of the composition in focus was used many times before, but it was Citizen Kane that made it famous. So disruptive was Orson Welles' style that there came no other encyclopedic director for decades.
Orson
Welles. Welles continued making creative compositions and varying between long shots and fast editing, but no single other film of his matched Citizen Kane's technical excess. The director who came the closest was Sergey Bondarchuk in his jaw-dropping 7-hour epic War and Peace. It has extremely complex shots, camera movements out of this world, and makes use of both narration and characters' thoughts.
Прямым следствием Бородинского сражения. Я люблю жизнь! Люблю эту траву, землю, воздух!
Bondarchuk's War and Peace is the closest any film has ever gotten to Abel Gance's Napoleon. Hey, it has Napoleon too! Maybe the Emperor awakens the best inside us all. But besides its use of multiple narrations, War and Peace doesn't use new audiovisual possibilities from its day. The rebirth came when, in his 12th feature, Martin Scorsese not only brought back the encyclopedic film, but alongside his co-writer Nicholas Pileggi invented the encyclopedic screenplay. A great inspiration came from the narration and style of Truffaut's Jules and Jim.
Il voulut revoir les lieux où il s'était battu le plus durement. Dans certains endroits, le terrain avait été tellement bombardé qu'il n'y avait plus que du fer dans le sol et que des champs entiers étaient devenus incultivables.
And a mere 2 years after Goodfellas, another director advanced the genre even further. The best encyclopedic film came not from Scorsese, but from his student Oliver Stone.
Boss, the president's been shot. In Dallas 5 minutes ago.
With JFK, Stone presents the conspiracies that follow Kennedy's assassination as an avalanche of narrations.
The peace summit between Khrushchev and Eisenhower failed. I can't help thinking maybe someone in our military didn't want the peace conference to happen.
Their papers had the entire history of this unknown 24-year-old man, Oswald. Studio picture, detailed biographical data, Russian information.
If there was a second rifleman, then by definition, there had to be a conspiracy.
Flashbacks.
Dave was drunk now, really drunk. He started in on Kennedy again.
A week's notice because I will kill. Right in the White House.
Flashbacks within flashbacks.
I just am unable to describe a flash of light or smoke or something.
Archive footage.
Castro is a successful revolutionary, frightening to American business interests in Latin America.
Scenes of all shapes and styles shot in 35mm, 16mm, 8mm, video, Academy ratio, scope, color and black and white. It is truly an encyclopedia of film that has never been matched. While Scorsese's films approach informative documentaries, Stone's JFK is closer to a paranoid mind overfed with stimuli trying to find a pattern in the chaos.
Look at the way the shadows on the nose fall in a straight line like it's high noon. But the shadow down here on the ground reads more like late afternoon or early morning.
Never would have allowed that limousine to slow down to 10 miles an hour, much less take that unusual curve at Houston and Elm.
They wait. They wait till it gets to the killing zone between 3 rifles.
And remember these words by Paul Claudel.
L'ordre est le plaisir de la raison, mais le désordre est le délice de l'imagination.
Stone's natural-born killers also mixed different colors, songs and styles, adding horror, animation and a sitcom sequence.
2 pounds lighter, you'll be Miss Ethiopia.
But it wasn't as much encyclopedic as it just played with this style. Many complained the film was too much like a video clip, but that's what makes it so appropriate to its age.
We respect human life and all.
But if I was a mass murderer,
I'd be Mickey and Mallory.
It's Stone's second time using what the audiovisual language had to offer, but after it, only his Nixon approached the encyclopedic genre.
A small-town lawyer like Lincoln, Nixon became a representative at 33 and a senator at 35.
Is Adam McKay the new encyclopedic filmmaker then? As a screenwriter, yes.
Thou shared thy torches flame with mine, revealing halls and spires of long-faded empires.
We're also offering an extraordinary rendition where suspects are abducted without record on foreign soil and taken to foreign prisons in countries that still torture.
Oh, that sounds delicious.
But not as a director. Both his films, The Big Short and Vice, fit the requirements to a T.
And America barely noticed as its #1 industry became boring old banking.
And like Scorsese's films, they use busy soundtracks, freeze frames, photos and pop culture products to place you in a specific time and place.
Here's Margot Robbie in a bubble bath to explain.
But ultimately, that's that. He does the same Scorsese does.
Look, I know you're not following what I'm saying anyway, right? That's okay, that doesn't matter.
No, since Scorsese and Stone, we haven't had a new innovative encyclopedic stylist. And it's a shame because audiovisual technology has never been greater, which you could say at any age, but bear with me. There has never been so much playing around with aspect ratio, image correction and visual effects. New media arrives every day, be it good or bad. Films already imitate computer and cell phone screens. Film editing has never been easier or offered so many choices. Anyone can do anything and it's only a matter of time until a filmmaker decides to take it all. Take all this world of possibilities and make an earth-shattering movie that will change the audiovisual world forever. But until then, I'm fine with Vines.
There is only one thing worse than a rapist. Boom. A child. No.
Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe and share it. And tell me what you think of the encyclopedic film. Can you think of another befitting film or director I didn't mention? Leave a comment. I will see you next time and this is Movie Wise.